Okay. So how we are going to operate? So you will be having totally there will be 3 based quiz assignments, whatever we have taken yesterday, na, like that. Each test is for, they will be asking 5 questions, 50 marks. All analytical problems will be mostly. 3 CAA quiz assignments, 50 marks, maybe in another 2.5 to 3 months time. Yeah, 2.5 months time I think. In 3 months we'll be having 3 tests. Okay. So it's for each test for 50 marks. Test 2 out of 3 will be taken for assessment. Okay. And it will be for 20 marks total. Then how many marks each test carries? 10 marks each. Okay. It will be for 50 marks. I will be converting it to 10 each. Okay, 10 marks each. So totally you get 20 for assessment internals. And the remaining 5 marks I will be giving you 2 assignments. Every 2 units, if I complete 2 units, I'll give an assignment. 2 assignments evaluated for 5 marks each. 5 marks. So there will be 2. Okay. Best one. 1 out of best one will be taken. 5 marks. So totally how many marks? 25 marks. So now can you understand clearly? 25 marks. I'm splitting into 2, 25. Then this 20 will be evaluated based on CAA 1, 2, and 3. Will be taken 2 out of these 3. Okay. And then for that 20 marks will be given. Each test is for 50 marks, but I'll be converting it to 10 in order to get 20. So then this 5 is based on assignment. I'll be giving 2 assignments and the best one will be taken. 1 out of 2, 5 marks. Okay. And in between, I'll be conducting surprise test like this. Okay, every time when I complete a particular tutorial or something, maybe 2 weeks once you'll get this. A surprise test will be there. Surprise quiz or test. And then a set of problems for you to practice. Every 1 unit if I complete, I'll release a problem set that you can use it for practice. More you practice, better your ability to solve the problems. So these practice problems and these tutorials will help you in solving the CAA problems. Mostly you'll be getting questions only from this. Okay, tutorials and what do you call a set of problems I'll be releasing every unit after. You can go through those models in order to solve the CAA papers. Okay, so related to that kind of a model only you'll be getting questions in CAA 1, 2, and 3. If any question is completely out of this model, I'll be giving you marks. Okay, they will be giving you marks for that. Okay, so any question out of completely different question, model is different, then you will be given out of portion or out of syllabus kind of question. Marks will be allotted immediately. That question. If you notice that and point it to me, I will give marks. So assignments also more related to the problems what you are solving. Okay, but with little bit of application oriented. You need to think and do it. Some applications will be there. Little bit take up the problem. You can use all the materials, all the resources for assignment solving. You can use all the relevant material schemes. But for CAA examination, one important point: no 2 answer scripts should be alike. If I notice any 2 answer scripts are looking little alike, okay, immediately by 25 you will be given only 0. Okay, so I am making it very clear. This point you keep it in mind. Don't ever allow your friends to copy from your answer script, because if I find out that you lose 25, definitely it will become 0 immediately, internal marks. So that will be a big problem for you, because you are uploading the answer script on a Google Classroom. It will be viewed by the public, the entire Shastra University faculties, as well as deans, management, the public people, anyone can also access. Okay, if two answer scripts are alike, if I have given you both marks, okay, that will pull down the university's image. Okay, so naturally, will immediately will give 0. I cannot avoid that. Okay, I will give immediately 0. So be very careful about that. So no two answer scripts should be alike. If the problems can be solved, all right, but there should not be any similarity. Similarity index is very important. Okay, so be very careful. So any doubt on this aspect, internal assessment? So is it clear to you? I made it somewhat clear, I think. 25 marks split up into 25. 20 is from internal assessment. 3 tests will be conducted. 2 will be taken. 10 marks each. You get 20. Assignments 2, 1 by 2. Okay, 5 marks. Is it clear? And then tutorial problems will be there. The classroom I'll solve tutorial problems. And then I'll be giving a surprise test related to the tutorial problem. That will add, it will not be graded. The surprise test will not be graded. Will not be graded. Like what we did in yesterday's class. So simply you have to sit and solve the problem. That's all. You can gain what you call learning. You can learn something out of that, and you can refer and you can. I'll release the solution also after 1 or 2 days in order to allow you to sit and think about that for 1 or 2 days, and then we'll release the solution. And the problem sets will be given after every 1 unit. So totally unit 1, I'll release a problem set. It is not assignment. Okay, you need not submit. You need not submit, only for your understanding and practice. If you submit, it will be nice. Okay, if you don't submit, also no problem. It will not be graded. But assignments, after 2 units, I'll be releasing one assignment that you need to submit. That will be evaluated for 5 marks. Like that, I'll be giving you 2 assignments. Every 2 units after 1 new assignment. After completing the 4th unit, 1 more assignment. Totally 2 assignments and evaluated for 5 marks each. And the best one out of these 2 will be taken for final assessment. Okay, so that's the idea. And the final test is for 75 marks. 75 marks. That operation, that what do you call that modus operandi, that pattern, I will be letting you know about that only by this month end. Okay. So nobody is clear about that because everyone is saying something. So let us try to wait for that. So this month end, I'll be September end, I'll be letting you know that. You can ask that also to me. Okay, so that's the idea. Any doubt on this? Anything you would like to clarify here? Anybody? Am I audible? Hello? Who wants to talk? Who is that? No doubt, sir? Okay, it is clear. Very good. Okay. Now let us proceed to solve one more problem today. So let us look at this particular problem. Okay. X of t is equal to xe of t, xo of t. What is this? This is even signal. This one is odd signal. Okay. So from this statement, what you are trying to convey, x of t, you have a particular signal x of t. This signal can be decomposed into an even component and an odd component. Okay. So then the question that comes to your mind is, what is an even signal? What is an odd signal? How it looks? Okay. Is there some property to it? So in fact, I told you a long time back, even signal. A classic example is this signal. Look at this. I'm writing it here. What is the signal? This is the cosine wave. Cosine signal. So if you look at this signal, clearly you can see that if I take any value, okay, this is x of t, this is t, okay, x of t. So if x of t will be definitely equal to x of minus t. Clearly you can see whatever value here you are seeing, the same value is what you are seeing here. Okay, if this is minus 1, this is plus 1, this is minus 1. So naturally, we change the reverse the signal, okay, time reversal of the signal. I'm going to get along the vertical axis, if I'm going to fold the signal. So I'm going to see the same signal again. Okay, so it's more like folding along the vertical axis or time reversal. For the time reversal, I'm getting x of t is equal to x of minus t. Okay, somebody please, all of you please mute in your end. I'm getting some noise. Okay, so x of t is equal to x of minus t. So this kind of a signal you call it as the even signal. Classic case is cosine waveform. This cosine waveform you can see it. So now if you look at this particular signal, can everybody understood this idea? What is even signal is? X of t is equal to x of minus t. Anyone having difficulty in understanding this?
Sir,
Yeah.
amplitude is I mean same, but time only varies. In the
Yeah, that's
negative
right. That is
extent,
right. Yeah, that is right. So if you look at x of t, it is the same signal here, but with respect to only the time. Time reversal of the signal, I'm going to get that. X of minus t. Okay. So that's the idea. So amplitude is same. Look at this point, this amplitude is same, this amplitude is same. So the same signal. So if you look at this, it's more like a mirror image. Mirror image, or along the vertical axis, if I fold it, I'm going to get the same signal. If I simply fold it, okay, you understand? So I'm going to get the same along the vertical axis. But if you look at the other signal, okay, if you look at this signal, okay, so in fact, you'll be knowing this signal clearly. Sine signal. The sinusoid. Always remember the unit circle. Unit circle, always remember. So for cosine, you start here. Maximum equal to what? This length is equal to 1. So the maximum value here is 1. Time t equal to 0. Time t equal to 0, you get the maximum amplitude 1. Equal. That's cosine wave. But for sine waveform, you're going to start at 0. Okay, so this is a value. This value is the corresponding y-axis value is 0 here. Corresponding y-axis value along the x-axis, real axis equal to 0. Y equal to 0. Therefore, you're able to start at 0. Then you go and get the maximum value of plus 1. Okay, clear. So then after by 90 degree, you'll be getting that. So in the same manner, you can visualize this. So the same signal, you're going to pass it. But this waveform is going to be like this. Okay. This is my sine wave. So the sine is coming in. So naturally, you can see very clearly that there is one x of t. If I'm going to look at here, that x of t will be equal to x of minus t, but minus of x of t. Okay, can you see it? Its amplitude is negative. Okay, so x of minus t, this is minus t, this is plus t. So x of t is equal to x of minus t. Definitely these two amplitude values are same, but minus. Okay, so naturally you can write x of t is equal to minus x of minus t, which is for odd signal. Alright, so odd and even signals, they play an important role when it comes to Fourier series analysis. Okay, we'll be talking about odd and even signals, Fourier series. So this is more like folding the signal along the origin. Okay, this is more like folding the signal along the vertical axis, even signals. But here what we are doing with respect to the origin. Okay, we are folding it. Okay, and you are seeing that the signal value is same here. This is also same. But look at this. This value and this values are same. The amplitude will be the same, but it will be negative amplitude. Okay, so this point and this point, for example. So clearly you can see that. Okay, now that's the idea. So now, yeah, somebody is opening that unmuting and again and again. Don't do it. Okay, disturbing the class. Okay, this is odd signal value. Okay, so this is x of t equal to x of minus of x of t. Now the question before you is it possible to take any signal x of t and can I write it as a combination of even and odd signal? That's the question before. So that's the question normally we'll be talking again and again in the signaling systems. What is that? Can you recall that? It's called decomposition. I've been keep on telling this decomposition again and again. So we learned already about the decomposition using impulses, sinusoidals. We have an idea, okay, how we can decompose this. And then using step signals and impulse signals and the ramp signals, we can build some other signals, decomposing it, synthesizing it. You can synthesize signals. In the last class, I gave you a problem. Okay, so synthesizing it. Synthesizing means what? Creating new signals using some basic building blocks. Basic building blocks. Building blocks are what? Step, ramp, impulse, and all this. The same manner, I'm going to decompose my original x of t signal into two signals. One is the even component, another one is the odd component. In order to compute the even component, okay, so you can do something like this. So even and odd, if you look at this, so I can write my original signal as xe of t plus xo of t. Now, simply change this. I'm going to time reverse it. T equal to x of minus t. What do I get? Xe of minus t, xo of minus t. I already know that if the signal is xe of minus t, it can be equated to xe of t. And I already know that if it is odd signal, it's nothing but minus of xo of plus t. Okay, so naturally, I can write it like this. I can add these two signals. Okay, I can add these two. I can add 1 and 2. I can add these two. What do I get? xo of t minus xo of t get cancelled, and I'll be getting xe of t, xe of t 2 times. So naturally 2 times xe of t, I'll be getting x of t plus x of minus t. I'm just adding this together. Is it clear?
So could you explain one second?
Yeah, please. So this is x of t. Okay, my original signal. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to represent this signal with xe of t plus xo of t. Is it clear? Now, in order to compute this xe of t, how it looks like, what I am doing is I'm taking x of t, I'm substituting for t minus t. What do I get here? xe of minus t, xo of minus t. Is it clear till this point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now what I am doing, I know that xe of t is an even signal. If it is even signal, x of minus t is equal to what? X of t. You agree? Therefore, xe of minus t is nothing but xe of t. And if it is odd signal, xo of minus t, it's nothing but minus x of t. Okay, x of o minus t is equal to minus x of t. Okay, that's important. Now I got two equations, equation 2, equation 1. Simply add these two equations. Automatically this will get knocked out. xo of t will get knocked out. I get 2 times of xe of t that I have written here, x of t minus x of minus t. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Sir, one second.
Yeah, add 1 and 2, that's all. Add 1 and 2. Equation 1 and 1. If I add that, I'll get 2 times of xe of t, xo of t will get knocked out, and x of t plus x of minus t is what I'll be getting. Is it clear? Anybody having difficulty? Okay. Anybody having difficulty? Please ask. This is important. We'll be working on problems based on this.
Sir,
Yeah.
x of t and x naught of t and xe of t need to be compulsory sinusoidal, sir.
No, it did not be. See, I just gave an example for the signals can be, for example, what about this signal? Can you tell me whether it is even or odd? What about this signal, whether it is even or odd? Panikumar.
Even, sir.
Very good, yeah, that's all. So you can notice here both the values are same. But the only thing is x of t is equal to x of minus t. Okay, is it clear? It can be any signal. For example, look at this waveform. What about this waveform?
Odd, sir.
Odd, yeah. So you can take up examples and we can understand comfortably. But anyway, I'll be solving some problems, don't worry. So every 2 weeks once, I'll be giving a set of problems also for you. So practice on this specific kind of problems what we are discussing in the tutorial sessions, so that you can reinforce the ideas and then gain clarity. Okay. So, but the point is you have to understand the basics clearly, what we are trying to do. So this is the idea. Now I got an expression for 2 times xe of t like this. Therefore, from that I can get my even component as 1/2 of x of t, x of minus t. The same manner, if I subtract these two expressions, 1 minus 2, what do I get? 1 minus 2. What do I get? I'll be getting 2 times x of t is equal to x of t minus x of minus t. So from that I can write x of t is equal to, odd component is equal to 1/2 x of t minus x of minus t. That's all. So whenever a problem, the odd and even signal format is given to you, first be very clear. What is it they're trying to ask from you? So they'll be giving you an x of t signal, and they'll ask you to find out, can you find the even and odd component of it? Okay, so that you can write x of t as a combination of even and odd component. So in order to compute the even component, you have to employ a formula. That formula is, I just now I have found out that. What is that? 1 by 2, you take the signal, then add the signal with x of minus t, time reversal of it, and then totally divide it by 2. Okay, that's the expression I have told you. So that component is even component. The same manner you subtract and you get the odd component. So easily you can visualize this now. Okay, so if for example this problem to take, find out the question will be like this. Find out the even and odd components of the signal. What is the signal given to you? X of t. So the component, even component, because I'm going to represent the even and odd component. So even component, what is the formula? 1 by 2, x of t, x of minus t. So I know how to do this operation because I know I have learnt about something called time reversal. In that time shifting property. So I know how to shift the signal. Okay, if this is x of t, this will be going to be my x of minus t. You agree? So this is my x of minus t. I can easily compute this. So once I know x of t, I can get x of minus t, and then divided by 2, I'm going to get what? This signal. So this is x of minus t. I know this. I'm going to add these two signals. Point by point you have to add. That's all. Addition is direct. So point by point. From here, minus 1 you start. Minus 1, I don't have any signal here, 0 signal. I have signal here. Simply add. So when you add, you're going to get this part. The same manner, I'm going to add this part, these two parts, from 1 up to 1. Here it is 0, this is 1 here. So I'm going to have 1 here. So this is my signal I'm going to end up in. X of t plus x of minus t. Is it clear? Then what is the key point here? We have to take only the half the amplitude. Primarily because I'm going to put 1 by 2 of this. So this is called amplitude scaling operation. We already learned this. Okay, amplitude scale. I'm just simply reducing the amplitude by half. Okay, what I end up in, I got 0.5. So that is my even component. How do I get my odd component? The same method. Odd component, I know that 1 by 2 x of t minus x of minus t. That's my odd component value. So I already know what is x of t. Okay, and if I compute x of minus t, what do I get? Is it clear? This is x of t. What is minus of x of minus t? That's going to be like this. This is x of minus t. Minus x of minus t will look like this. Same signal, reversal. Okay, down by origin. Okay, so then that is my signal. X of minus of x of t. So this is x of t. This is minus x of t. If you add these two signals, subtract these two signals. Okay, sorry, addition only. Yeah, addition. But here it is minus. You understand? So naturally, if I add these two, what do I get? I'm going to get this way. X of t minus x of minus t. Is it clear? So I got this waveform. This waveform, again I have to take the amplitude half. Now clearly you can see that this signal, this is the odd component, and this signal, this is the even component. If I'm going to add these two, even and odd component, what do I get? The amplitude is going to be 0.5 here in the negative side. Here is minus 0.5 in the negative side. Therefore, that's going to become 0. And here is 0.5 in the positive side, 0.5 again. It will become 1. So I'll be getting back the original signal value. So if I add the signals x of t with odd component and even component, I'm going to get this. Is it clear? Anybody having difficulty, understanding difficulty? Yeah. Yeah, please.
In beginning, you say you have drawn one circle. That point I couldn't understand, sir. Explaining the signal. You have drawn on two circles for odd and even, and time is equals 0, 1.
That is what. In fact, that is why I asked you to go through that mathematical part. Okay, the mathematical lecture I have taken again for you. I think you have to go through that mathematical lecture. In fact, what we are talking about is we are talking about a unit circle like this. Okay. So you take any vector in this part now, this length you call it as, if this is a unit circle, this value is 1. So this is the angle theta. So cosine theta will always be equal to this length x. Okay. Okay. So what is that I told? So this is you can understand. Adjacent by hypotenuse. Therefore, adjacent value is x by 1. This is cosine theta. Okay. What is sine theta? this point, yi, okay, this distance, y distance, y by 1. Opposite, opposite by hypotenuse, adjacent by hypotenuse. So now for cosine waveform, normally this is a maximum amplitude rate. This is, radius of the circle is 1. Okay, this radius of the circle is 1. So this vector is now going to rotate. Initially the vector is pointing in this way. Now tell me what is the corresponding y value for this vector? What is the y value for this vector? Going to be 0. You understand? This is the x value, this is the y value. If the vector is pointing like this, what is this pointer? 1, 0. Okay, this is a unit vector. So naturally the vector is pointing in this way. So in that case, the magnitude is, what is the cosine value? It's going to be the value 1, peak value. At time t equal to 0, it's happened. Okay, now you are going to rotate this vector like this over the unit circle. Go through the mathematics part I have showed to you. Okay, if you rotate it, then you're going to get different values for vectors. At this point, it becomes becoming the peak. So naturally, it's going to start like this, go down like this, coming back like this. So this waveform you call it as cosine waveform. Okay, and again is reaching the peak after one full revolution and reaching again the same point, 2 pi. This value will get a peak value again. Same manner for cosine waveform, sine waveform, we will start here. The corresponding y component is 0 at this point, 1, 0. So the waveform is going to be. We'll go through the mathematics again. Okay, the mathematics lecture, video lecture again. You'll understand. I explained it very clearly on that. Okay, go through it. Is it all right, Gautam?
Yes, sir.
You can read it. Any trigonometry book also you can go through. See, always I'll tell you one thing, guys. So we are in a different era now. Okay, I've been telling about this kind of era for the past 5 years to all my students. No more you will be valued in the market based on your marks. Only based on your understanding you will be valued. So it's going to be continuous learning for you throughout your life hereafter. Learning is not going to get stopped here, unless you choose a different career. Okay, if you are going to choose be in the engineering domain, you should keep updating, keep learning. So in that case, there are always some prerequisites. Okay, remember that. Prerequisites in the sense some basic understandings. For example, signals. Over signals, I'll build DSP. Okay, I'll build control systems. I'll build computer control systems. So I'll build all kinds of other higher end technology like advanced control, optical control, okay, robust control, or otherwise image processing. Okay, to take an offshoot of it. Image processing, speech processing, AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning. All these are the what do you call, they are higher up in the hierarchy. So once if you remove this signals part, if you are learning signals without understanding, without mathematical insights, all your the hierarchically higher subjects, you will not be learning with insights. You will always feel shaky. You will never understand the concepts clearly. You will always feel shaky, and you will start hating the subjects also. At one point of time, it will become a burden to clear subjects. So spend some time on the basics always. One easiest method I can tell for second year students is, okay, when you are working with one particular concept, stick on to it. Okay, stick on to it. One concept at a time. Understand how it works. Spend some time in searching, solving problems. Gain little proficiency. Is a way forward. After gaining some proficiency, move on to the next topic. Okay. For that problem, you need to take up and solve. Sit with the problem and solve. That's the only way forward. Okay, gaining proficiency. Once you gain proficiency, the rest of the topics, whatever you're going to learn in DSP, control theory, process control, around some 30 subjects I told you now, all these subjects you will find it comfortable. When you are working out problems, understanding, you won't find any difficult. So engineering subjects learning will become a pleasure for you, primarily because you are understanding properly. Okay, your understanding is right and you feel comfortable with it. If your understanding is not right, you will always feel a burden, because 3 years of your life will become frustrating. Remember this word always. Frustrating in the sense, a pain. Every time there is a CAA, every time there is a classroom interaction, every time there is a presentation, every time there is a project, every time there is a final examinations, arrears. All these will give you a lot of frustrating experience, pain. So in order to overcome the pain, the foundations should be proper. This semester is crucial for third semester students. The crucial, primarily because the topics that you are learning in this particular semester, like electric networks, electronic circuits, signals and systems, mathematics, all these subjects are one-to-one connected with the higher semester subjects. So gaining mastery, that's why I'm spending 5 hours for each subject. You have to spend, at least spend 3 hours for each subject after the classes. If you can do it for another 3 months, and the rest of the 30 months that you're going to be here in Shastra will be a pleasure. Otherwise, I'm making it very clear, it will be painful. Or otherwise, if you have money and your father is in business, you can switch career. Or otherwise, you can switch career, or otherwise in the technology domain also, you can go for technical marketing, something like that, some kind of a job which does not demand a strong technical acumen. Technical acumen is not something beyond the reach of anyone. It is within the reach of everyone. Only through practice, you can gain that. No other quick fix solutions, no other easy solutions. You can always copy the exam and you can score 50 out of 50, but inside you are nothing. Okay, there is always a fear. Okay, so remember that always. Keep practicing, learn things in the right way. Even if you have arrears, I'm telling you, one of my students, okay, my friend, in fact, his name is Ashok. He studied along with me when I was doing my BTech. For control systems, he didn't go for examination. I asked him why he didn't write the exam. I said, I didn't study it properly. You know what happened next? Arrears, he did written the examination. He scored 95%. Now he is a leading control systems design engineer in US. Okay. The point is, arrears is not something that you feel a kind of a stigma or something. It is simply meaning that I have not learned the subject properly. That's the meaning. Learning means you have to put some effort. It means that I have not put that required effort for the subject. That's the meaning. There is nothing to feel bad. That is a kind of a stigma, social stigma. I would like to eliminate all those things. Okay, I don't believe in it. So simply believe that I have not put up that effort, so I am going to put up that effort. I am going to learn the subject properly. I am going to score marks. Okay, this example I have given to you only to show you the path that learn things in a right way. That's important. Learn things in the right way. Don't copy, don't do some kind of shortcut methods. Don't go for it. That's not going to give you happiness at all. Okay, so just keep this in idea. Is it clear, Gautam? So you can always go back. For example, integration, derivation. Even now I have got a lot of doubts when it comes to integration. What do? I go for an academy called Khan Academy. Just type in Google. So you've got plenty of resources to learn everything from the scratch. Okay, there's a very good website called Khan Academy. There they teach you everything from the basics. Okay, so like mathematics, particularly mathematics. Beautifully, his professor name is Salman Khan. No, he's not our actor, Salman Khan. Okay, this guy is very famous, Salman Khan. So this guy has created an academy called Khan Academy. Just visit this website. I think most of you will be knowing this. Okay, just go to the website, see the mathematics part. For example, I would like to compute something, an integration of a complex integral value. I'll go here and I'll check, and then I get the answer immediately. So I'll be understanding how it works also. Okay, so derivative, calculus particularly for mathematician, engineering students, unless you gain proficiency in calculus, linear algebra, okay, these two subjects are key for control design engineers. And so I'm just an offshoot. I've moved in a different way, but anyway, I'm just making it clear. Spend some time in the basic physics and mathematics. Always spend some time. As an engineer, you should go and revisit the basic physics, basic mathematics again and again and again in order to sharpen your skills. Okay, never hesitate going back and learning something. I don't know this, sir. I don't know how I'm finding out. Go back and sit with the Khan Academy, understand it, spend some time with it, gain that idea clearly, okay, gain that insight clearly, then move ahead. Thereby, you can build your foundations, and then gradually you can build towers over it. Okay, but if you're going to build towers without the basics clear, the tower will always fall at some point. Okay, remember that. All right. Anything you want to ask me here? This is something I have given you the kind of learning strategies for second years. Okay, so maybe I can take separate class on it. But right now let us move ahead. So even and odd. This is the idea of even and odd signals. Now in today's class, I would like to introduce you to two systems, very powerful discrete time systems and continuous time systems. Okay, these two systems are important. We'll come back and solve this problem. In fact, I solved one tutorial I've taken now. The second tutorial this week again I will take based on even and odd as well as on power and energy. So this, before I teach this power and energy, I will go back and go into continuous time discrete time systems and then come back again and learn power and energy. Then we'll complete the tutorial. The next week Saturday, okay, not this week, next week Saturday morning from 8:45 to 10:45, we'll be having the first CA exams. Okay, before that, I'll be completing all these topics. Okay, so 4 classes we have before that. In fact, 5 classes. So in the 5 classes, whatever we learn, along with the topics, whatever we have learned so far, whatever you're going to learn these 5 classes, and whatever you have learned so far, all those topics will be addressed in the first CA exams. We'll be given 5 questions, and you have to work out problems based on that. So next Saturday, 8:45 to 10:45, we have this examination. Okay, is it clear? Any doubt? Anything you want to ask on about the CAA? Everything clear? CAA 5 questions, evaluated for 50 marks. It will be converted for 10 marks. Okay. So discrete time.
Every subject there is CAA was there.
I don't know, but for my subject it is there. My students, I want them to learn. Okay. I'm not bothered about others. Okay. Fine. So now let us move ahead. Where we are, yeah, discrete time and the continuous time. So this is a material taken from MIT. Okay. So let us try to understand. Discrete is an excellent material. Look at this. So we are trying to understand conceptually discrete time systems to start with. Okay. Because they are important for digital electronics and computation. As I told you, see the connections. Digital electronics is another subject you will be learning. I think this semester are you learning that, man, Gautam?
Sir?
Digital electronics. Are you learning digital electronics this semester? No?
Digital system design only, sir.
Ah.
DSG, sir. Digital
Oh,
system.
you are learning that. Okay, that's what I meant. Digital electronics. Okay, you have electronic devices also you are learning now. Electronic circuits, sir.
Yes, sir.
So networks circuit also you are learning, is it not? Electric circuits. So signals. Then maths. What other subjects you are learning?
We only 5 only, sir.
5. Okay. Fine. 5 subjects. Okay. So all these 5 are you need to spend a lot of time. Okay. So put maximum effort in this semester, and the rewards will be huge the coming semesters. I'm telling you, take my word. I'm a professor here for 15-20 years. I'm working. I've seen students. Okay. So with my experience, I'm just conveying this important message to you. 3rd and 4th semester, whatever effort you're going to put all your effort. Don't think of anything else. Like a monk, you live your life. These 2 semesters. The rest of the 2 years, okay, you will enjoy your life. Because your basics are sound, you can learn anything comfortably. Okay, without much difficulty and much effort. Effortlessly you can learn. The rest of the 2 years. 3rd and 4th, final year. Okay, then you can come up with a good project also. And your placement prospect also is going to dramatically increase because of that. Future world, you know that. Okay, everybody is learning now. Okay, it's highly competitive. So unless you put some effort, not going to be of much help to you. So put this maximum effort this semester. Okay, this and next semester. It will take you to a different level. Okay, now look at this. Here is the system, today's system. So look at this. I'm introducing you to a function, an equation called a difference equation. Difference equation is written like this. Y of n is equal to x of n minus x of n minus 1. We know all these signals. If I any signal x of n, how it looks like, you know, these are all samples. These are all time shifted samples. And this is nothing but y of n, the output of this subtraction. Okay. So now I can block diagram wise, I can draw this particular expression like this. This is my x of n. I am pausing it after a delay. Okay, this is minus 1. Look at this. Minus. Okay, I got minus. There is a delay operator, which is nothing but x of minus 1. Okay, and then I'm adding x of n with this delayed version. So x of n minus x of n minus 1. What I'm doing here. What is that? That is my output. So this is a kind of a system. I'm calling it as a discrete system, or otherwise this expression I will be calling it as a difference equation. It's a very important idea. Try to concentrate here. The difference equation. Okay, so how I am representing it mathematically? With a delay operator. Why there is a delay? There is a one delay here I have introduced. X of n. This is a delayed signal. You agree? If this is going to be my x of n, okay, this is x of n. What is x of n minus 1? I'm going to delay it by 1 instant. That's what we learned, time shifting. Okay, so this is a delay operator, we call it. So naturally, I'm delaying the x of n by 1 time instant. I'm getting this one delay here, and the signal is also negative. Why? I'm doing it x of n minus x of n minus 1. Therefore, the amplitude is also minus 1 and multiple. If you look at this symbol, this kind of symbols, they call it as gain symbol. I'm giving a gain. This can be minus 1 here, it can be 2, or it can be minus 2. This gain normally comes from the amplifier circuits, which you are, in fact, you are learning right now, electronic circuits. Okay, this is a gain of an amplifier, they call it. You can either amplify or you can attenuate. This is, in fact, minus 1 is more kind of an attenuation. Okay, so multiplying this signal x of n with minus 1, and I'm passing it through delay, and I'm getting y of n level. Any difficulty in understanding this? Everybody comfortable with this expression? Anybody having difficulty?
Sir, explain once, please.
Yeah, please. Listen carefully. So I have a signal x of n. Let us imagine the signal is like this. Okay, this is my x of n. Now you can go to delay it once, one time instant, 1 second or 1 minute or 1 millisecond, whatever. How the signal will look like? Time shifted. It would be x of n minus 1 instant. This one can be anything. Okay, 1 hour, 1 second, whatever. The signal will look like this. You agree with this? Now what I am doing, I am generating a discrete system wherein the input is what? So the system x of n. This is my discrete system, discrete time systems. Output is y of n. Now I am telling that this y of n nothing but a linear combination of the signal x of n minus x of time shifted signal. Is what I am doing. You agree? Can you see it clearly what I am saying? So the system is performing this operation over the x of n. It takes, the system is more like an operator. It takes this x of n and then it subtracts that x of n with x of n minus 1 and it gives it as output. That's the operation. It's more like a function map. What is the function here? Discrete time system. What it is performing in the domain region, I have a signal x of n. And what it is going to do, it is going to map it to some y of n. How it is going to map? It's going to take x of n minus x of n minus 1. It is going to perform and it is going to end up in the range. This is the domain and the range problem in the function approximation. Remember that, function mapping. Any function will map that. So a system is acting like more like a mapping function. Any system is going to perform that. It's going to take x of x and it is going to give me. That mapping is governed by this equation. This equation you call it as difference equation. In fact, you might have learned about differential equation. This is the sampled version of it. Continuous time domain, you call it as differential equation. In the discrete domain, you call it as a difference equation. Is it clear? Is it clear? Anybody wants me to repeat again? Any specific doubt? All right.
Sir, explain another model, sir.
Which one?
another model, some graph.
Yeah. That will be there. Wait a minute. Okay?
With another.
No. We'll be seeing an example. You'll understand it clearly. Okay. Look at this. Now take up this example. Okay. So this is my system with a difference equation. Okay. Now I'm going to take my signal x of n, our friend. What is our signal? Friend. Our friend is impulse always. They are the basis. Okay. Friend signal. This is x of n. Now I'm going to call my x of n as delta n. My delta n. Now, is it all right for everyone to understand this? This is my x of n. Anybody having difficulty visualizing it? It's a unit cell. This delta n is the signal. I'm calling it as x of n. All right. Now think about this. I'm going to take this signal x of n, and that's going to exist only for n equal to 0. Okay. I'm going to pass on this signal, this x of n, to what? A gain factor -1, and then I'm going to delay it, and then I'm going to take it. Okay, that's this value. This is what we have. All right. So that's what we have done here. Can you see it clear? So we would add it. Okay. X of n with that signal. Put a summer here. Summer means what? Adding two signals. I'm adding it. So now what happens? Y of n is going to receive the x of n directly to the summer, and it's adding with this signal. What is this signal? This is nothing but a minus x of n minus 1. You agree with one delay? This is one delay. One delay I'm going. This is a signal here. This simply adding it. That's addition. So my y of n is going to be there. Now, if I pass on x of n with an impulse signal like this, what will happen? What will be my y of n? That's the question. Okay, this is a little tricky. How many of you? Can somebody repeat again what I said?
Sir, you are passing x of n signal.
Good.
Summer model.
You are going to sum that signal along with another signal. What is the other signal?
A delay or delayed version.
Delayed version. Very good. Time shifted with the amplitude scaled by -1. Okay, is it clear?
How could he able to fit that into the delay, sir? That we can. How could he able to fit the delayed?
No, see, all these delay operators. Okay, you can do it in both hardware and software. Okay, we learn about it in electronic circuits or in the digital circuits. All this. Right now, don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Just imagine I'm going to delay my signal. Okay, with an electronic component or a software component, and I'm going to get my output y of n like this. Okay, right now. So this delaying can be of any kind. So for example, for one real world application, if you're going to look at, we can take up this example. To reduce the number of bits needed to store a sequence of large numbers, what normally we do is that are nearly equal. All the large numbers are nearly equal, but I'm going to have a lot of values like that. So what do? I record the first number and then record successive differences. Okay, successive differences. Between two large numbers, the differences is going to be very small. You agree? I'm going to have a sequence of large numbers. Instead of storing all the large numbers, I'm going to take the differences between two large numbers. In that case, it will be easier. So normally you can do it using some software, okay, by writing this algorithm. Y of n is equal to x of n minus x of n minus 1. Wherein x of n is a discrete signal which will be stored in the form of an array. Okay, the data will be stored for various values of k. K equal to 0, 1 for various values of n. 0, 1, 2, 3, like. So this value will be compared with x of n minus 1, and you're going to have one particular value. So right now, don't imagine that, but just imagine in your mind, we are working out something called difference of two signals, x of n, x of n minus 1. Okay, so the application part we'll see with an examples later on. But right now, concentrate on. Did you understand this? What I said right now?
Sir, why there's delay? There's gain, sir. Why we are setting gain there?
No, it's a difference equation. So I'm looking for a difference. Difference is what? Taking two signals, finding the subtraction. Okay, you take x of n minus 1. and there is a -1 here indicating difference. Difference of these two signals. That's what we are. You understand?
That means that is subtractor, I mean.
Yeah, subtract. Yeah. It's subtracting. It's helping you to subtract. By putting that amplitude -1, you are subtracting after all. You are adding these two here. Okay. So that's the delay of it. We'll understand it with more examples. Right now, think about this. Okay, now, this is the example I told you. Now what happens? Now, can somebody give me answer for this? Which one of these following are true? Just think for 5 minutes and come up with an answer. Read the question carefully. Whether the first one is right, y2 greater than y1.
No, sir. Not greater.
Yeah. y3 greater than y2.
No, sir. Y2 equal to 0 is correct one, sir.
Yeah, good. Because the signal exists only for delta in signal, how it looks like. That is my x of n. That signal is going to exist only for n equal to 0. I'm going to plug in that value first inside. Let's see how we can understand it clearly. Okay. So, anybody else? What about the fourth equation? Can somebody tell me whether it is true or false? See, these are all something little bit you have to think. Okay, but it is within your reach, not beyond your reach. Easily you can work out. Only through repeated practice you can gain insight. So spend some time. Don't worry. Immediately by looking at it, nobody will understand. Okay. Always remember that. Yeah.
Sir, false, sir.
Yeah. Fourth
False
one.
one, sir.
Fourth one is true. Okay. Right. Your answer is true. Fourth one. Fifth one is also true. Yeah. That's right. So now let us try to understand it by going through that lecture material. Okay, look at this. That's what is happening. And you see, it's step-by-step solutions. So you take y of n is equal to x of n minus x of n minus 1. First step is clear. Then what happens if this is going to be n equal to -1? X of -1, x of -2. Definitely x is not existing there. It's existing only for n equal to 0. Therefore output is 0. Then y of 0 is what? X of 0 minus x of -1 is signal is not existing. See here, x of n, there is no signal. It is existing only for n equal to 0. So naturally that is 0. Okay. So 1 minus 0 is 1. And y of 1 is going to be -1. Primarily because x1 is 0. X of 0 now, because of the delay, is now coming. You understand? This is x of n. This is x of n minus 1. Okay. This x of 0 already we have computed. What is that? 1. The value is 1. X of 0. Now, but it is going to get -1 primarily because I am finding out the difference. Okay, then x of 2, x of 1 both are 0, x of 3, x of 2. All other values are going to be 0. My output is going to look like this. Is it clear? There is a 1 at n equal to 0 and a 1 at n equal to 1. That's all. -1. N equal to 1, there is a -1. Okay, primarily. Everybody understood this clearly? Anybody having difficulty? Anyone in the class having difficulty? Gautam? Padachelvan? Panikumar?
No doubt, sir.
Harini?
No doubt, sir.
Is it clear? So, can you see, visualize the output clearly now? What's happening? So, you are giving the system What is that system? It's a difference equation system. You are giving an input x of n, which is nothing but an impulse signal. What is the output you got? The output is also an impulse, but with two samples, -1, +1. You understand? So this is a difference equation system I'm talking about. This kind of response, you call it as the impulse response. Impulse response of what? A discrete time system. Discrete time system, how it is represented? It is represented by a difference equation. Difference equation, how you can mathematically model using delay operators. What is delay? A time shift. Okay, so delay is more like a time shift. The same manner, we can imagine the continuous time systems also. We should understand the connection between differential equation and a difference equation. If the system is continuous time domain, the equation that you write is differential equation. The system is discrete time domain, the equation that you write is difference equation. Remember that. Okay, so right now we are in the difference equation mode. Now look at this. So what I have written here, I am introducing an operator, a right shift operator. This is a very powerful idea when it comes to higher semesters. Okay, you'll be learning control theory, modern control systems, okay, and process control. There and all, it will be useful when you are mathematically modeling something at all. This kind of operator, right shift operator, equal to Rx. Okay, in digital electronics also it will be.
Sir?
Yeah, please.
There, y of 2 is greater than y of 1 only, no, sir?
Yeah, definitely.
Then it's true only, no, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
So look at this. All the answers are right. Y of 2 is greater than y of 1. Y of 3 is greater than y of 2. Because once you know how it is working out, this by looking at it, you can tell all the results. Okay? By looking at this, you can tell all the results. You understand? You understand? Collection?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is
Yes, sir.
Panikumar. So all
Sir,
these
yes,
are
sir.
all these are true. But why? What about this equation? Why y of n minus y of n minus 1 is equal to this is true? Can somebody tell me? What is that? You can put it in a recursive manner. Okay, you can clearly see that y of n, okay, is equal to x of n minus x of n minus 1. Now in the recursive manner, how you can write? Then if somebody is asking you a question, what is y of n minus 1? What do you say immediately? Can somebody tell me?
X of n minus 1 minus x of
X
n.
of n
minus
minus
2.
1. Yeah, that's it. Very good. What is x of? Understand how we are getting the next term. So naturally, what you are looking for is, what is that? Here it is. Now I am subtracting these two. Can you see it? If I subtract these two, what do I get? Y of n minus y of n. Okay. So if I subtract these two and if I plug in for this one, yeah, what do I get? I get 2 times of x of minus 1. Yeah. So if you add this to x of n minus 2 times x of n minus 1 minus x plus x of n minus 2. Because I'm subtracting it. Okay, look at this, subtracting. So naturally, I'll be getting plus x of minus 2. This will become minus. I will be able to get 2 times x. Is it clear? Everybody with me here at this point? Anybody having difficulty in looking at this expression? Algebraically, you can do it comfortably. So subtract these two equations. That's all. Equation 1, equation 2. Recursively, you have to think. What is it? Y of n minus 2? Can somebody tell me? Gautam, what is y of n minus 2?
X of n minus 3 minus x of n minus 4.
Minus x of n minus.
So you keep doing it. Okay, you can recursively you can do it. It's the power of difference equations. Okay, so you'll understand it more when you are working out problems. Now let us move it. This is a shift operator I am introducing. Right shift operator it's called. Where x represents the whole input signal and y represents the whole output signal. So representing the difference machine, what do you get? Like this. You can do it now. Because I am representing the right shift operator. There is a shift, I am representing it with the operator called R. So naturally this can be represented like this. So what is y of n? x of n minus x of n minus 1. I can introduce the right shift operator here and I can put directly Rx. This means one R indicate one shift, one unit shift. Remember like that. So naturally this is going to be x minus Rx. That's going to be 1 minus Rx. This kind of expressions will be of use to you when you are learning control theory, wherein you will be developing some kind of polynomial expressions. Remember, I'm going to have more number of delays. I may get something like R square or cube like that. You end up in some kind of polynomial expressions. Factoring those polynomials, finding out the roots of it, it's a very powerful idea in DSP, control theory, image processing and all. Okay, so you have to understand it very clearly. What I'm trying to see, one delay is introducing one right shift. You have to remember that. Okay. Anybody having difficulty visualizing it? All right, can I move? Understood? Is a right shift operator I'm introducing that. So for a delay, I'm introducing the right shift. Okay. Now look at this. Now can somebody tell me which of the following are true? If y is equal to Rx, a right shift operator, which of the following are true?
Three is right.
That's wrong, man.
Second option.
Second option is right. Why? Yeah, that's right. Y is equal to x of n minus 1. Y of n is 1. Y of n is equal to x of n. So that's what this one indicates, na? Therefore, it is y of n plus 1 is what then? X of n. That's the second option. You agree? Everybody with me?
Correct, sir.
Yeah, fine. So that's the idea. So easily you can understand it. Now look at this next case. So this is what I'm talking about. Okay, if this is x, I'm talking about Rx, one right shift like this. Clearly, y of 1 is equal to x of 0. You agree? I'm talking at the nth sample, that is 1. What is that? That is y of 1. Y of 1 is equal to what? The same signal, x at 0, whatever it is there, let us exist. But with the right shift. Okay? Right shift of this. So I'm introducing the right shift. So that's what this is. So y1 is equal to x. That is what I said by y of n plus 1 is equal to, with the right shift, I can represent it. You agree? N plus 1 here, x of 0. Equal to when is equal to 0, y of n plus 1 equal to x of 1. Alright? Now look at the next case. Now I can represent two, I can cascade two systems. This is a very powerful idea, DSP. Next semester you'll be learning. But the basics comes from the signals. That's why I'm telling again and again and again. Signals, they are the fundamentals. Only use the signals, you're going to build all the castles. So don't put your effort in building the foundations very clearly. Okay, now see here, this kind of structure you'll be learning in DSP. They call it as cascade structures. Okay, look at this. This is X. I'm passing that signal through this and we're ending up here and got Y1. And Y1 again I'm passing it through this and I got Y2. Two systems I'm cascading. There are two systems, system 1 and system 2. So in that case for the Y1, in order to get Y1, oh I'm getting one delay, X minus Rx. So it's 1 minus Rx I can write. And for this one, Y2 is equal to Y1, 1 minus R, Y1. You understand? Y1 minus R times Y1 is this signal. And this is X minus R times X. Is it clear? Now substituting for Y1, what do I get? I'm going to get 1 minus R, 1 minus. Is it clear? So Y1 badala, I'm substituting this expression, 1 minus Rx. So I go to get. So Y2 is going to be equal to 1 minus R, 1 minus R. See, I said a polynomial is coming up. Okay, it's a kind of polynomial I'm talking. So it's more like 1 minus R double square. So I'm ending up in a polynomial expression, 1 minus R square plus minus 2R I'll be getting. So in that case, A minus B whole square I'm going to get here, a kind of a polynomial expression I'm going to end up in by cascading systems like that. Factoring these polynomials and working out the roots of it is going to be some key ideas you'll be learning. So it's called multiply operator expressions. Okay, I think I can stop here. So far, any doubts? in this particular module, difference equation introducing. Okay, it is called discrete time systems. So it is basically we are talking about something like linear systems. Under the linear systems theory, we have two: one is discrete time systems, continuous time systems. Like in the case of signals, we have continuous time signals, discrete time systems. So far, we have learned some signal operations. Now, gradually, we are moving towards systems. And the systems are something which is going to operate on the signals. Always remember that. The signals can be x of n, y of n, x of t, y of t. But these systems can be represented in only two forms. One is a difference equation, another one is differential equation. Only these two forms you can have. But linear systems, okay? But they are in the time domain. We can always move to the frequency domain. In the frequency domain, we have Fourier transformation, Z transformation, Laplace transformation. Okay, but right now our focus is on the second unit, mostly on differential equation and difference equation, and then convolution theorem. Okay, we'll learn all those one by one, but let's spend some time on the basics and understand it clearly. Okay, so with that, I'll stop today's lecture.